So I'm just asking students and young people aged 18 to 25 what their career aspirations are and how much they'd like to earn. What would you like to do?
I want to do computer science.
Well, I was thinking about environmental law.
I'd like to try out a few different things, like maybe teaching, doing some travelling.
I would like to work somewhere in the finance industry here in London.
I'm thinking about doing scientific journalism.
Something in development or kind of public economics.
I'd like to do music if I could, but otherwise I think I'll carry on in academia.
Well, ideally I'd probably want to work for the EU in Brussels.
Probably architecture.
I would like to work for a consultancy company, but then maybe set up my own business.
And how much would you ideally like to earn?
Well, living in London, I guess, I don't really know, maybe sort of upwards of £150,000.
I'm studying to be a student midwife, so realistically my career aspirations would be in terms of the NHS, and so it's kind of banded. So realistically my initial salary would be I think around £30,000 to £35,000.
100,000.
Maybe like 60 or 70 grand.
Like about when you're 30 years old, it should be, let's say 100.
Enough to live on and a bit more than that, so like maybe 40k a year.
And what about retirement, which must seem like a long way off at the moment, but what age would you like to retire at?
Yeah, that's a really hard question because I'm really now 21 and it's hard to predict. I never thought about it.
Well, as early as possible, ideally, but again, if like that's my chosen career, I don't see it being beyond 65 and possibly being pushed back even later considering the changes in NHS and the fact that I won't have a pension to retire on.
Something around 60.
Well, I'd like to retire like 65, but that's not likely.
People are able to do a lot more and like be active members of society a lot longer, and like I think it's important to recognise that and not just kind of write old people off as like a social burden.
What's the retirement age at the moment? It's
Well,
about
65 at the moment.
Sounds about right.
Marry rich and then retire straight away is the ultimate dream.
Sugar mummy.
Yeah, exactly. So if you know any.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
60, 62.
I like to keep my mind busy, because when you stop thinking, you start developing chronic diseases and dementia and stuff.
Well, I feel like architects can work all their life really. I mean, you've still got like Richard Rogers, Norman Foster going and they're still like 80.
I kind of assume that we'll, as millennials, have to work till we're about 90.
If you could pay a professional some money while you were earning to help you retire early or to help make your retirement more comfortable, is that something that you would consider doing?
No. No, probably not.
It'll be foolish not to sort of engage in a service or a person who can actually help me maximise that, rather than carrying on thinking I know what I'm doing when I clearly don't.
Realistically, I don't think that would be where my money would go because I wouldn't have additional money to pay someone. And I think that's probably the case for a lot of people living in London, and particularly young people don't think about the future because they're struggling so much in the young age.
No, not really.
Nah, probably not.
I'd much rather go to people I know and ask them how they've done it, like ask my dad how he's done it or whatever, if he had already retired by that stage, which obviously he would if I was 62. He'd probably be dead. But
I think the best decision what I can make is my own decision, so I can save by my own, not to have any help from any financial advisory.
Maybe I'm sort of naive about these things, but I never think about how how you invest or whether to have an early retirement or thinking about. I really just don't think in those terms. I mean, I don't think I would pay somebody. Well, I don't know. It depends how persuasive they were.